Hey guys, your guy John coming at you with another Awaken Chaos Era video. Today's video is going to be all about the Void Tower, as well as a very big special announcement that I can't wait to share with you guys. But before we get to that, for those of you who are struggling with the Void Tower, are not quite certain of what the debuffs or the hurdles this Void Tower really are, this video is definitely going to be for you. I know we've done a lot of renditions on this, but each individual Void Tower video that I do is really centered on the current Void Tower of the series. You will notice right now that it is May 15th, so that's going to be the Void Tower that we're currently on for anyone who's watching this in the future. All right, so first things first, guys, like I said, I have a very special announcement for you. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that right now. Very first thing I'm gonna do, and that's because I'm super excited that I get to really get to enjoy this and share this experience with you guys. So first things first is, for those of you who are not aware, I'm a Path of Exile player. I enjoy playing Path of Exile, hence the shirt. Most people who have the merchandise are pretty hardcore. They really enjoy the games. I am one of those people where I really enjoy AARPG games. We have a new game coming, and that is going to be the Diablo Immortal. I went ahead, I started a new channel for this. I will have the first video live at the same time this video is going live. So when you get done watching this video, go click the link on my channel down below, hit subscribe to this other channel, because it's going to help me out a lot. I'm starting all the way over. I don't want to stop doing content on Awaken Chaos Era, so I'm going to go ahead and make another channel. However, it's got to get monetized very quickly, or else I'm going to be really just burning rubber for no good reason. So I definitely need everyone's help to go click subscribe, like the videos over there. The first one will be out at the same time as this video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to be explaining what Diablo Immortal is, why you should be playing it, what should we look forward to. And I'm going to be doing daily videos on both games. I'm going to be covering Ace and Diablo Immortal. I'm one of those people where I have an itch that like to get scratched on the gacha games. You know how it is. We're all kind of addicts, which is why we're going to be talking about the Void Tower, because I wanted to get to that in-game content. I want to do it as fast as possible because I enjoy games like that. But sometimes it's really nice to just sit down, play a game where you just click around and you traverse, kill enemies, play with friends, so on and so forth. Diablo Immortal is going to really fill that itch for me as well. And I've always been the type of person where I at least play 2 games at once. So this one happens to work out very, very well. And I'm super excited that I can make content on both. Now, one other thing real quick before we get into the Void Tower content, I do want to mention that we are going super hard on this. When I say we, I do mean this is a collective. I have a Discord here pulled up. I am the admin for our Aftershock United Discord. As of very recently, I am now part of the Aftershock United community. This is going to be a community, as you see here, with Chosen, Darth, myself. We're going to have Scratch, we're going to have Kyrie Mobile, we're having Deadwood Jedi, we're having Build Shot, Smiley TK, I got Cold Brew in here. We got a lot of people in this community. It's going to be a massive conglomerate of players and a lot of fun. And to join it, all you gotta do is click another link down below that will say the Aftershock United Discord. Come in here, you'll see this access to server. This will give you the community rules. Now, what you do need to know is I will step aside here. Right beside me on the right here, there it is right there. You need to click that button, that way you can see the server. If you don't click that button, you won't see anything. But that's the biggest thing. Join the community, come see if it's something that you're about, what you're gonna like. We're gonna have applications. We're gonna be really doing it up on the clan side. Now, that does not mean that I'm done with Ace. I'm not done at all. I want to be covering them both because, like I said, they both have that itch that I really want to scratch, right? So without further ado, for those of you who came for the Awaken Chaos Era content, sorry for the rambling on with the other content that you're not so much interested in, but I did want to let you guys know about, is the Void Tower. Now, what do you need to know about the Void Tower? That's going to be the hardest, most knowledgeable thing to know. It's going to be the debuffs. What do they mean? So we have the rune marks, right? This is usually what the extra little thing that gets thrown in with these Void Towers that makes or break the Void Tower, how easy it's going to be, how hard it's going to be. This rotation has not been too bad, but I'm going to talk to you about why it hasn't been so bad and what kind of teams that you can build to make it even easier than what it is. So first thing is grants plus 20% enemy attack upon hero death, max 4 attacks. Now what this means is every hero, once a hero dies, the other heroes get a 20% enemy attack upon hero death plus 4 stacks. So what this means is if you have 4 enemies on the field, if you have 5 enemies, because you do have the second wave, so usually 5, This means if all 4 die and there's 1 left to go, that 1 hits super hard. He gets plus 80% attack. So what this means is crowd control or nuking is going to be the key to success here, or even sustain, right? If you do sustain route, which is when I say sustain, what I mean is the ones that really hold down the fort. They got a lot of HP, a lot of defense, a lot of survivability. Those ones are kind of okay. If that's the comp you're running, it's not that big of a deal. But the other thing to note is being able to nuke them down is going to be super impactful as far as clearing these dungeon waves. Now, the next thing with the tower that we're going to talk about is that's the first one that's normal. That one's okay to circumnavigate. We'll talk about a team here in a second that'll kind of help you with that. The other one to note here is increased defense enemy defense is increased 50%. If the enemy is affected by a defensive down, this rune mark is invalid for the duration of the defensive down. So what this tells me is this just essentially works like a 50% defense up, like that buff, right? We've all seen that kind of a buff. It's like a defensive 2 buff, and it works great. Now, the thing that they tell you that it's not really perceived amongst a lot of people is if you have defensive down, it disables this. So this is an increased 50% up, and this does not state that a defensive down 2 is required to offset it. So this means it's just an on and off switch. So you actually get more benefit by not having to bring in a defensive down 2 player to offset it. That's normally how this would go in the other renditions, is you'd have to figure out a way to offset whatever it is their buff was, and that way you can kind of manipulate it. As we're going forward, they're coming up with more interesting ways that have better cycle through abilities. Mainly I think because they want to make this a little bit more balanced for everybody who's playing, both free to play and veterans, as well as they want to be able to allow people to complete certain rewards like getting their Ciara, because they have to beat Void Tower hard. Now, what does this mean for you, the viewer? What this means is, 1, you need to be able to do a lot of damage really quickly to kill multiple people to wipe out all the enemies. And 2, this means you need to be able to have defensive down on your enemies most of the time, so that way you can really do a whole lot of damage. Now, something to note is I made the 92. I didn't really have a whole lot of problems. These were fairly easy. Now, the first couple that I did struggle on a little bit was on floor 60, which is the normal floor 60 composition here. This is the Dark Nick, the Blackhorn, the CC, Lightwing Zachary. It wasn't that hard, honestly. At the end of the day, all I had to do was defensive down with actually brought in Tia. I froze Lightwing Zachary. I used a Vera to nuke him down, and it was super, super quick and easy. I actually did it on stream, and I almost forgot what I was doing, because I was like, oh, this is really simple. This doesn't make sense to me. But the thing to note here, and this is going to be the same comp on normal, is when you're taking like compositions and teams on like this, you got to really think of what kind of compositions work well. So in this case, what worked really, really well, let me see if I can't pull it up here. I think I saw someone have this earlier when I went to make my notes for this video. Oh man. Okay, so it looks like the guy who did it earlier that I was going to copy his notes isn't there anymore. Okay. So here's what I did, and it sucks because I can't show it to you because it's already over. But what I did is this right here. I brought in, not Blackhorn. I don't know why I did that. I brought in Ciara, I believe. Brand, Ciara, Vera, Tia. And the reason why I brought in those is because it was pretty simple. They're speed tuned. I went in with Brand, I defensive up. I used defensive down with Tia, so I use this spell because as long as you have that spell, it dispels that buff they have, right? Because that buff is huge. 50% defense increase is massive. Think of like Lydia, who has to ignore 50% defense. That means that her other part of the skill is just completely obliterated, doesn't matter. So by giving everyone a defensive down with this and the frozen proc, we actually give an additional defensive down as well, because we're getting they're frozen, so they take 50% more damage. And then you can rage a Vera, and then at that point, everyone is for the most part back to normal. You can do a massive amount of damage, and it's really, really easy. So compositions like this work well, because once a Vera gets past the 50% threshold on an enemy, then Ciara procs her passive ability. That passive ability goes down and nukes everyone down, making the entire fight super simple, super quick, super clean, especially on level 60, which is one of the harder ones. And especially for those who are really trying to progress into the Void Tower. I did use an auto comp. I autoed all the way through Void Tower 100 normal, and I autoed all the way down to, I want to say, level 43. And that's the composition that I'm going to kind of talk about here. Is I autoed all the way down to here, no problem. I wonder if my team is still on the board. It was on the board for 42, but it's probably gone now, as I imagine a lot of people have progressed faster than I did. Looks like it is, and that's okay. We'll go talk about it. So the composition that I use that I found really helpful is actually, we take this out here and I'll show you. I use the following. What I did was I brought in Avera, I brought in Ciara, because I like the two. They pair really well together. And I also brought in Corruptor Rock. Now the thing to note is Corruptor Rock is in a Rebel set. So because he's in a Rebel set with a guard set, this means every time that he goes or a new round starts, he procs his passive ability. What his passive ability does is at the start of the round, deals true damage equal to 5% of this character's max health to all enemies. What this means is if you go over here and you look at his max health, he's at 21k. If we pull up the calculator, that means that 21,238 times 5%. He does 1,000 damage to each character at the start of each turn. This does a lot of damage to enemies. It helps you really whittle them down pretty quickly. And it also gives you a chance to stun them every time, so you get that control effect, right? Because what happens if you kill 4 and then you leave the 1? Well, that 1 has a lot of damage he can do because he's at plus 80% damage. That's something to definitely take note of. Sometimes it makes more sense to go slow, kill everyone evenly, than it really would be to pick out one person in a row like we normally would do, right? Like normalization would dictate if you have 5 characters that you will target one character, kill him all the way come through, target the second character, kill him all the way through. But in the sense of doing that, you're actually empowering the rest of the team to do a lot more damage to you. So it's actually the backwards way of thinking is you want to inflict all AoE damage to everybody and quickly bring them all down together. Now, like I said, if you have a tank team, it's fine. But let's talk about what it means and what you should be looking for with these AoE type nukers. So one, this type of a character, even though he's amazing for his passive, he doesn't do a whole lot more other than that, other than the stripping, which isn't necessarily the biggest thing in the world to have or use. He does a lot of single target damage, which is great. The passive is really what it's going to be used for, with the amount of damage he's going to do with this gear. Now, this gear needs to be rolled up so we can do even more damage, but for those of you who have a Corruptor Rock, this is a solid plan, at least a good start to get the Rebel set going and working correctly for you. Now, the reason why I bring Avera and Ciara in here is because they're both AoE damage dealers. If you guys saw my limited summons video, that was the last one I just did. Avera is a massive AoE nuker, and then Ciara has this passive ability. So let's talk about Ciara's passive ability and why that's super impactful in this composition, and why I'm looking for characters that do this type of stuff to make this easier on me. So notice her ultimate is a single target nuker. So why would she do so much damage to the whole team? Well, the reason why she does is because she has this passive. When the enemy's health is under 50%, deal 100% damage to all enemies, can only be triggered once every 2 rounds. So once every 2 rounds, you get them knocked down past 50%, she does an attack for 100% damage. Now, she also gets a Vengeful Spirit proc on her, which means that she's getting more and more attack. She's getting plus 8% attack for each stack, right? Which is huge. That's a lot of damage. On top of, if you put her in Avarice set like I do, that's another 50% damage. So is it really 100% damage, or is it really like a bonus 160 to 180% damage that gets procced on top of Avera doing anywhere between 200 to 360% damage, right? So you're kind of following me. You're doing anywhere between 200 to 500 plus damage with Ciara and Avera combo. So characters like this synergize super well. And the reason why I bring this up is because there's other ways to think of this, right? There's other characters who do like combo attacks, such as like Molhex, right? For example, Molhex can come in there and he has this ability where he does this attack up. He can do defensive down. All of his abilities go down lower and lower as everyone has attack up, right? So he can keep defensive down procced, because he also has a chance to proc it on his A1 as well as A3 that cycles through super fast. He also has this amazing ability where any attack by an ally affected by attack up reduces his cooldowns. When they get reduced, he can possibly get a bonus attack because everything locks on and it's able to go, right? So now he can do, if this character has attack up, then launches a bonus attack with this ability. So now you're doing two AoEs, sorry, because everyone else is attacked and synergized properly. So now this passive is going, this puts this down to an A1. Boom, you're doing AoE damage again super quickly, and that puts you at 200% AoE damage. So that makes him a really good option as well. Now, that's not to negate like bringing in a Savannah. Brand the Brilliant is an amazing character as well because he's doing enemy max HP maneuvering. These type of characters are going to be super impactful because, like I was saying before, is you really want to bring them down together. You don't want to single out somebody and then boost all their attacks somewhere else, right? Because by doing so, you make yourself more and more vulnerable because now you can take more damage. One other thing to note and point out is compositions with just AoEs are great. Using characters like Valeria and Nathalia that have these ultimate abilities that do a bonus turn upon death or a resetting ability, right? Because if she gets kills, or if the team gets kills, sorry, her abilities get reset because the cooldowns go down. Characters like Valeria, Nathalia are amazing for these type of void towers because even with Nathalia not being an AoE nuker, if you give her a few buffs, you pair her with like a Brand or someone else, a Joseph maybe, even a Joseph would be okay because he can give you that bonus turn. Makes perfect sense because then you're just proccing more and more and more turns, which does so much damage for you. It's just insane the amount of damage you can do. And that's what you need to do because like I said before, characters who do single target damage are going to be kind of weak in this one because then you're going to be stacking up one character. Now, if you're really struggling and you cannot complete content on this and you're looking for that cheese type mechanic, what I recommend is that you go in here and you figure out which champions, one, you can build well. Two, you go build yourself a Charles. Now, Charles is going to still be a massive help because he's defensive based. All of his abilities are defensive based. It makes a massive difference when trying to do damage because this means he can take a hit. You can also pair him with Hakron, who has a defensive ability, right? He does a defensive boost. So these two synergize really, really well, which allows Charles to do more damage. Hakron's just an amazing tack and a max HP buffer. You bring those two in there, maybe with a Brand. Brand is really amazing to have in there as well. Bring in a Corrupt Rock, which would be great. You bring in another HP damage dealer, even like Ricard would be okay because he's going to do damage based on his max HP, so he's really tanky. I'm trying to think of other viable options here. Obviously, if you can bring in a Mathasia or a Brand, that'd be ideal as well. Even both. If you bring in both, then that gives you more of a better chance to slow play it. The biggest thing is just make sure Charles is really, really set up well with defense and focus, so that way he can really crowd control the enemies. I highly recommend what you do is you put that Charles. I love Charles. He's a great character. But if you put Charles in a Divine set, one, he's super annoying. Nobody wants to touch him. No one wants to hit him. But this means he can also control the battle a lot more because this gives him a chance to proc the counterattack, as you see here with the gear. But proccing that counterattack really goes a long way than what you think it would. So that's my best advice if you're gonna go with the tank comp. I've kind of covered the thought process on how to lower the enemy's HP at the same time, togetherness. Now keep in mind, I'm always talking about the last fight. Getting through the waves is kind of on you, however you want to plan on doing that. But getting to that last fight, having defensive down characters, having AoE damage nukers really makes a big difference. Bringing in just the defense belt is usually more than enough. I would say if you try to do this, you're going to go really, really, really far. I haven't had any problems with this void tower. In the last several renditions, I've had issues where they've gotten stuck and I've been stuck for days. So this one, I'm at 92. I think I can complete this out. I'm probably going to do it on stream and then it'll just be boom, done. Void tower complete, and then we're going to try Mythic. We're going to see if we can do it, especially with the new content coming. I want to see if I can't complete our old content. But yeah, that's going to be it, guys. I hope this video was very helpful for you. I also hope that you're going to go check out Diablo Immortal. You're going to go subscribe to my page with the video, as well as I hope you guys have an amazing day. It's so great to be back. I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Peace.